Hello, greetings. I am Robert Andres, and it's my pleasure to present you the paper An SDG approach to developing sustainable circular design, which has been prepared by me and by Professor Andrea dos Santos. So I am going to present this paper, and I'm going to take in consideration the next steps, the context of the research, the objective, the research method, the results, and finally the conclusions. So the context, for this particular paper, we have considered at the first step the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the SDGs, which aims to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all of us as a part of a new sustainable development agenda. One of the most important things about the SDG and the 2030 agenda is that it calls for action not only governments, but also the private sector, corporate, the civil society, and all the individuals as well. So this is a great step forward for what we had before, the Millennium Development Goals. And this is one of the key issues that has to be addressed until 2030. So the agenda has established 17 goals and 169 targets, and it's based on the 5 Ps, the people, planet, partnership, peace, and prosperity, as you can see on the screen. So one of the questions about the SDGs is that they are so broad. We have 17 goals. For each goal, we have several targets, and they are not homogeneously divided for each one of the goals. And moreover, in 2017, it was established also a set of indicators to assess, to be sure how to assess and to monitor the progress of them. So if you can see, there's a lot of complexity, not only for government, but also for corporate sectors. And in order to achieve them, there's a need to be aware of what we're doing, and then just to be as accurate as possible when you are developing any action. So the SDGs, as part of the sustainability and the private sector, present so many challenges for companies, as we have limited knowledge of the actual impacts or contributions of sustainability practice on actually the sustainable development. Sustainability then has challenged to integrate each one of the dimension of the triple bottom line into corporate strategies. And SDG may allow corporations to focus their strategies toward specific goals and establishing priorities to other sustainability. So there are huge challenges for the private sectors. But okay, you may be asking, how can the circular economy gets into this? So the question is that in the last years, companies have invested in minimizing their environmental footprint by promoting product recovery operations like maintenance, upgrade, repair, enrichment, etc. And under this context, the circular economy model represents a shift from business as usual. So scholars have explained that there's a necessity of companies to adapt and build sustainable business models consistent also with the circular economy principles. So business models must embrace the principles of circular economy as well as the guideline of SDGs. So Boken and al. State that the shift to a circular economy model will be achievable only if the diverse stakeholders attain a significant modification in the consumption and production pattern. And this is one of the main points regarding this interaction, this interrelation between SDGs and circular economy. Because SDGs, the SDG number 9 is about responsible consumption and production. And as you can see, here is the link between SDGs and the circular economy principles. So, okay, but how can a private company get into, can actually uh, do something about how can they actually move forward and achieve both SDGs and the circular economy? So one of the issues related to the circular economy and sustainability under the SDGs refers to their complementary approach and the promotion of each other. So most of the times at the corporate sector, this is not well understood, and there are some scholars and practitioners who think that the most important thing is to go beyond the principles of the circular economy as a necessity to achieve the SDGs. On the other side, we have some scholars and practitioners who think that the first thing to do is to achieve SDG and then to go indirectly to move beyond the circular economy principle. But actually, the main thing is that they are complementary, and the promotion of one helps the promotion of the other. So as much as the circular economy can help in achieving many of the SDG also can hold the promotion of circular economy practice. And notwithstanding this key issue, it has not received too much attention at the practitioner level, at a nano level. So the private sector then, when they are trying to implement, to innovate, to execute their business models, when SDG and circular economy principles are getting together, there's one particular thing that should be also understood that get into between both of them, and it is a necessary step to foster innovation. So is that companies committed to contributing to the SDG face complex decisions, particularly for new product developments. So achieving a sustainable circular design means that you can get to put together both of them, the base of both principles. So scholars explain that implementing a successful circular economy model at the manufacturing stage of any product requires a product that has intentionally been designed for circularity purposes, such for longer life cycles, longer lifespan, etc. So it means that product design under the new product development plays a crucial role in implementing circular economy principles at the same time in achieving the sustainable development goals. So the objective of this research is then to propose a framework to aid designers during the first stages of NPD to consider both SDGs under a sustainable circular design approach during the product life cycle. So to get together the circular economy principles, SDGs during the first step of design for new products. So how this was performed? What was the research method followed? So the first phase consisted in a literature review to see what the scholars are doing on this regard and how can these three concepts are getting together. Then on phase 2, we develop an SDG clustering. So in order to perform or to arrive to a framework which is straightforward and easily applied by any practitioner. And then we studied how the NPD life cycle is performed in order to get together phase 2 and phase 3, then to get to our framework, which was validated by experts, both practitioners and academics. And that's what I'm going to present to you I'm presenting you at this moment. So our results then is a matrix, which is really straightforward, and it's the intention of these metrics is to be as easy as possible for any designer to implement it, okay? So we cluster the SDG according to the wedding cake representation, where we have the biosphere on the base, the society, the economic, and the partnership as the upper point. Then we consider the life cycle stages of NPD, which are realization, use, and end of life. Under these, the manufacture process, the delivery to market, the use itself, maintenance, assistance, and monitoring. And the content of the matrix took into considerations the SDGs. Okay, so this is the framework itself, and I'm going to present it to you by one particular sphere. So we have, for example, the first one, the biosphere, which is considering at the same time SDG 6, 13, 14, and 15 for each stage of the life cycle. So we propose this criteria to be considered during the first stages when the new product is being developed. So, for example, we have for the biosphere, under the first stage of the life cycle, realization, manufacture. So some issues and aspects that should be considered in order to move forward circularity and SDG at the same time. So, for example, to consider selection of materials, the energy efficiency, the emissions of CO2, percentage or risk of inputs, water usage, etc. Some other consideration for delivery to market, as example, the packaging, the weight volume consideration, the distance which is going to be percored by the product, etc. Then, for example, under the use, noise, consideration of emission by product degradation, safety of user, material and components, fatigue, and any other technical issues to be also considered. And one of the most important things, for example, the maintenance, assistance, and the monitoring, we have, for example, ease of repair, availability of component and durability, materials or of components for repair, packaging related issues, etc. So, and for the end of life, to be designed for reuse purpose or for remanufacture, to redesign, disassemble, recycle, disposal. So these are some of the key issues that should be considered during the product development at the first stage when we are considering the biosphere and those SDG comes into this dimension. For the social dimension, we have other questions like, for example, due diligence issue, human factor, adequacy and work environment, specialized training for product manufacture, the interdisciplinarity of teams, people working together to develop these guidelines, plan to minimize the risk of work-related accident and incident because of product manufacture components assembly, establishing renewable energy supply assessment and its implication for product manufacturing. Some other for delivery to market, transportation guidelines, analysis of the impact of the quality of life and health condition of working during the stage, for use, stakeholders engagement, safety, toxicity, etc. For maintenance, we have ease of repair, inclusive project for maintenance, human factor related issues, possibility of creating byproducts or co-products for the end of life, as well as social impact of the end of life purpose. For the economic dimension, as you can see on the screen, we also have many indicators which are considering both SDG and circularity principles. And one of the key issues that we have considered is the partnership across every single step of the life cycle during the NPD, because this is according to us, this is one of the key points that actually will enable to implement and to put together both principles and goals to achieve sustainability. And it's actually the most important thing according to us, as that's why it is a transversal issue through the life cycle and through all these spheres. And it's the actual identification of product characteristics that may help to promote an industrial symbiosis approach. And this is actually where we can see in a more practical way how you can put together all these three concepts at the same times. So it is needed a change in the mindset, in the way of people actually are developing their work, and to think, okay, where I want to arrive and how are we going to arrive there. So how can we put together our knowledge, or capabilities, or skills to achieve this goal. So, concluding, the implementation of a sustainable circular design, SCD, where NPD, CE, and SDG are considered contemporaneously, is challenging companies and designers to determine which practices are the most suitable for integrating this concept within design parameters. Promoting circularity within companies may help accomplish many of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. SCD may play a role in achieving the organizational strategies objective of any sustainable-oriented company. In this lane, in practice, product design under circular economy principles focusing on SDG plays a crucial role in achieving sustainability. This framework, which I have already presented to you, highlights the capabilities necessary during the design process to address sustainability in a holistic way. A proposed method enriches sustainability assessment and management by companies. This framework provides valuable insights for designers and companies transitioning to circular economy principles committed to achieve SDGs at a corporate level. Notwithstanding this, we also acknowledge the limitation of our work. It is essential to underline that this framework presents many limitations, and we know that, and it is not intended to be complete. Actually, what we have been looking forward is to have a tool which is easily applied by practitioner and not which is our main public. So there might be relevant issues that have not been considered, and we are also working on this framework to improve it. So according to the sector where the business operates, for example, there might be some specific sector related issues that should be added and considered into this framework. We acknowledge that it would have been too pretentious to reduce the complexity of new product development, circular economy, and sustainability in this framework. Nonetheless, this might be a starting point to discuss the transversability of these subjects further. So that will be all. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching me. And I'll be glad to answer to any question of you. You can reach me by this email that you are seeing on the screen, and I'll be pleased to answer any question you have. So thank you so much, and see you next time.